Okay, so it's in E flat major. It's hard to really pin down the genre for me. I'm not very good with genre names anyway, but this feels sort of like, music that has elements of dance music, and you can feel, I felt myself like moving to it, but it feels like it's more about listening to it than dancing to it, especially because the beat would sort of drop out a lot, in favor of other compositional elements like that string breakdown or just a moment of pads or sort of spotlighting the piano melody. And so it's more about the beat kind of supporting the harmony, and that I think maybe the harmony has the protagonism in the song. But it's so satisfying to hear that groove behind it. It really, I think it kind of elevates everything to a little bit more of a playful sound, just slightly, so that you can, ingest it without so much heaviness. And hearing that bass come in was so like grounding and satisfying. I think they might be doing something here that they did in Burnt that I really love, is sort of a loop of a number of chords that's not an even number. Like in Burnt, I think it's 5. And in this one, it felt maybe like it was a 3-chord loop. And that's different than a song with just 3 chords in it, meaning each chord gets the same amount of time as the next chord. So I think it was like, so we E flat major, okay. So like this chord, and then I think it went down to this chord, and then up here, and then it starts over. And so it cycles in 3, and that I think gives a really cool forward momentum to the song, and it also makes it feel like you never quite get settled. You're just sort of always ahead of something. And this is so beautiful. I really loved how they developed this melody. It started out very tinkly and kind of in the background, and then it started to get more and more in the forefront. And I'm glad I chose the felt piano sound, because that's, in my experience, that's kind of what they use too. And it has this really muted, kind of romantic, delicate, emotional sound. I keep hitting the C sharp. I love the da da da, and the rhythm of that feels very free in a way. Like, I don't know how I would possibly notate that on sheet music. Well, also I don't really like notating things on sheet music if I don't have to, but it just had this kind of conversational cadence to it, like dun, 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 dun. Like, I don't know, just didn't feel like it was really playing into the grid, which was really nice contrast to the it's a pretty fast beat, I say it's like maybe 130 or something. And but it didn't feel super fast, because a couple things they did. First of all, they had they didn't hit you, I think, with every single downbeat on the kick, right? Yeah, so they have gong, 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 gong. And the second half of the measure is very syncopated. So there's a lot more space in the second part, just because the kick is not on the every single downbeat. It just they just put the third one in sort of in the middle there. It's nice and syncopated. Yeah, so that gives it feels slower, I think, as a result of that. And then I also love what they did with the bass near the end here. If I can find it. Maybe not quite so far. Here. So here, the bass, instead of just being like dun, 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 which felt so warm and embracing, this part, it's a lot more, it's kind of, there's space. It's not this constant droning note. And it sounds like it's synced up with the kick drum, which now has a little bit more of an extra something or something. I think it goes dum, 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 dum. And it's just so nice to hear the contrast when the bass lets up, that feeling. A lot more dynamic. It's really cool. And I think there's some vocal samples at the end there, which I thought were really interesting, kind of ghostly, formant shifted. The string section was really beautiful. Lots of like, almost reminded me of I don't know if anyone's heard this piece of music. I mean, of course people have heard this piece of music, but I don't know if anybody watching this video has heard this piece of music, but it's Arvo Pärt's Tabula Rasa. There's a soloist, but most of the strings just go ja, 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 ja in chords. And I had a little bit of a similar feel, or at least just reminded me of that here. So we can find it. Very consistent, you know, the rhythm is just beautiful. All that reverb, or maybe it's a delay. I don't know. It's really gorgeous. I love their instrumentation because it's always got, it's very clearly, you know, got a lot of programmed elements and synthesis perhaps, but it also has a lot of organic elements and like orchestral instruments. And the piano is often featured, you know, and it's a very cinematic, I think, sounding piano. So if you like that, you might also enjoy Bonobo. Now we're going to listen to the second track, which is called Told. I like how this one has a, more traditional 4 on the floor groove, really nicely mixed. Everything just seems so well placed in the stereo field. The bass feels good but defined. I guess by good I was thinking deep, and I said good. Deep but defined. Lots of sparkly high end. Everything just feels so full and balanced, and everything, you can hear everything, even though there's clearly a lot of reverb on stuff. And my favorite part of this song, I think, was the transition. They did it 2 times, and both times were equally as exciting. Even though I was hoping it would happen again, it was still just like, wow. And I'm talking about this part. So that's the second time it happens, and the measure, or the bar, starts before it drops. So if you kind of have a sense of where the beat is, you're going along, and you expect, the beat to drop on beat 1. You're ready for it. And instead, it goes, and it is delayed. But it's not that it pushes it back. It's that it just waits until like you're in the middle of the bar to finally drop. It's not sudden, swells. And that's so beautiful. And I feel like that is kind of echoed by the way they did the strings that start to come in, I don't know, maybe a third of the way through. Like, they have that sort of swell and then come back. Oh yeah, I think there's also some gating on certain elements. Like there's another sort of voice sample that's been manipulated, and you can hear it kind of going, I think that's the gating pattern, which is a very, I don't know, kind of dance pattern. But it was really tastefully done. And then the ending was really gorgeous with just the strings, because they're cycling through this chord progression, which I'll figure out in a second. And they could have just kind of looped the chord progression and, ended the song, but they instead just revoiced the chords so that they continue to get kind of voiced higher and higher. See, it's all just sort of slowly moving higher, or at least the layers that they're adding are getting higher and higher. So I don't know, that feels like, it doesn't feel like the same kind of ending as if it kind of, they took layers away and you kind of left with the very base. It feels like the very skeletal and sort of like truly the end. It feels sort of like it's running away from you and like going up into the sky, and you can't catch it. It's just a really different kind of uplifting feeling. And the chords here, there's something that this one has in common with Flown. Okay, so that's half step higher, E major. So yeah, there's some similarities. If you know Roman numeral analysis. Roman numeral analysis. I'm not sure where the TH came from. Maybe I was thinking theory. This Flown had the 2 chord. Then it had the 6 chord resolving to the 1 chord. And this one has the 2 chord, then it walks up to 4, then it goes to 1, and then to 6. So they have some shared harmonic DNA, which keeps things sounding very consistent in the EP. And the last one's called Dazed. Wow, cool string technique at the end there. I forget what that's called, but it sounds very like unstable and really like kind of breathy. I'm going to bring up my keyboard because this one I think is maybe more piano based than the others, and I thought it might be helpful to see the keys. So this one also has uneven cyclical phrasing. There are sections in some way, but there's always that through line of the harmony that just never changes. This one has 3 chords that are cycling. So let's figure them out. Pretty off. I don't have perfect pitch. I'm just guessing. All right, so I don't know if it goes up at the very end or it just goes probably like that. So I'm going to put this in the key of maybe G minor. I'm not sure yet. Oh, sorry. And then I think it goes. Let's see. Small note change second time to change the chord. Okay, so they could have gone, for example, put a G on the bass and gone, and that would have made perfect sense, but they did what I was hoping they would do, which is a flat 6. At least that's how I hear it at this point. And then this one, F major, and then I think they're going to D minor for this one. But I think the second time they might vary the bass line, which sort of changes the overall chords. Okay, so the other things that I noticed that I wrote down about this song that I really liked was the way the left hand came in. It's doing arpeggios. They kind of bubble up from the bottom halfway through the bar. So that's also kind of a nice feeling. Not everything's starting right at the beginning of the bar. And the other thing I like about this song, it's interesting, it feels very watery. It just sounds like the whole thing's underwater. All the arpeggios, there's a synth arpeggio that comes in earlier that's very subtle. And then the arpeggios in the left hand. And the way, even this sort of toggling, this, even the way they do that sort of feels like it's louder, and then it sort of decrescendos, and the da-da-da-da-da just feels like ripples, you know, the image getting distorted and moving out and out. But the way they bring elements in is also very watery. The drum beat just sort of slowly grows, bubbles up from the bottom. The first sound is this. It's like wooden, even that sounds kind of slippery and wet. And the very low pass filtered bass drum. This is a lot more syncopated rhythm. This is not a 4 on the floor, you know, groove. I really like the sounds, those wooden sounds. Nice. By the time I get to hearsay, now you can hear this sort of on the offbeats. That also just very, very, very slowly fades into the point where you might not even notice that it happened. So the whole drum beat feels very underwater and very slowly changing. And the rest of the song kind of follows suit in how they introduce things. So major 7th. And then regular major chord, it's the B flat major chord that has an add 9 on it. And then starts over. It's so pretty. So, so lovely. Awesome. Thank you for listening with me. And I hope you'll check out more of their work. And also I think they do things on their own. Olafur Arnalds is a film composer. Who'da thunk, right? Thank you for listening with me. And I hope you have a great day. Until next time.